Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the iFox with Juice podcast. This is a special edition episode. This is an exclusive interview. We do have a special guest, flyweight UFC fighter, Andrea KGB Lee, has been so kind to join us. How you doing, Andrea?
Doing good. Hey, guys. How is everyone?
Doing good. And I actually feel a little guilty. I just noticed today, I was seeing some posts that I totally forgot it was your birthday yesterday, so I'd like to wish you a happy belated birthday on my end. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, it's no problem. Thank you very much.
How did you spend it?
I hung out with my boyfriend, and we watched movies here. We went out to eat, and that's about it. You know, we really just kind of had a simple day. We didn't do anything, outlandish.
Yeah.
Kind of kept it simple.
Yeah, so I mean, training probably hasn't been in the cards the past few days, right? I'm trying to take it slow for right now.
I didn't work out yesterday or today, but the day before I went and I got some work in. I just kind of just to blow off some steam. But I can't really do a whole lot because my feet are all swollen, so it hurts to kind of move around. I have a broken toe, and my feet and my ankles are all bruised up and swollen. I got to get an MRI on my right foot because it could be some tendons or ligaments or whatever that might be jacked up. So hopefully not. Maybe it's just bruised, but they're just pretty swollen right now. That's all. They're fat, swollen, and hurting, and it's uncomfortable to walk.
Well, yeah, I would imagine, and you did kick a whole lot, and I basically followed you since the beginning of your career. I know you have some very good kicks. Obviously, we're gonna get into the fight right now. You fought Lauren Murphy this last weekend, and I got to commend you on your combo when you did your hook to spinning body kick. That was something I hadn't seen maybe ever. That was very creative on your part. That was very cool.
Thank you.
But obviously, not surprised that your feet might be hurting right now. And I saw that the mandatory suspensions of a few weeks for both you girls, right?
Yeah, they did. And since I might have since my toe's broken, they're going to suspend me just a little bit longer than But I mean, it's not a big deal. I'm hoping to get back in there around May.
Wow. So you wanna get right back in there, huh?
I do, yeah. I would like to anyway. I feel like it's just I just can't take too much time off. I mean, you get better with every fight, and I feel like I didn't do great in my Joanne Calderwood fight. I feel like I did a lot better in this fight, and I just feel like I'm going to continue to get even better. I mean, I want to get back to that aggressiveness that I used to have. It's like I got into the UFC, and even though I'm still an aggressive fighter, and I want to go out there and get the win, I'm also cautious too at the same time because I'm trying to not lose. But the opponents are definitely a lot higher caliber, and I just don't want to get out there and do anything stupid and lose. But no, I want to get back to the way that I was fighting for Invicta and LFA.
Of course. It's just crazy because it's not, obviously the result was what it was, and anybody listening knows that you lost a very controversial split decision to Lauren Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
I was one as well as Reen. We were both in agreement that you did not lose that fight, and in fact, you probably should have swept on the scorecards. But past is the past, unfortunately, and I've seen that you're trying to contest it and appeal the fight. I hope the best in that situation, but I actually did want to ask you about just the decision, not this decision in general, but your mentality, because you are an aggressive fighter and you have more finishes in your record than you do decisions. And I mean, when you came in the UFC, your first fight, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe was a fight of the night against Veronica Macedo, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. See, so, you have that reputation, and then the fight that's been sticking out for me, especially of your recent performances, the fight against Montana De La Rosa. I still feel if there was a minute or two left in that fight, you probably would have finished her. That's the most aggressive I've seen you in in a good while. So I definitely get what you're
Yeah.
talking about. So is the thing with the fight, obviously I know you're not happy about the result, but is there a disappointment just in the fact that it went to a decision?
Yeah, but at the same time, it was also exciting too because I mean, I feel like her and I were throwing down, and in those last like 20 seconds, it was like we knew, and we just started throwing and trading. And I really wish I could have gotten more of that because I mean, I was really like I was enjoying that. We were just sitting there trading punches, and I could feel that I was hurting her to the body too. I mean, we were just landing some solid stuff, and I don't know, like that was really turning me on. I really liked that. I mean, like I was like, I don't know, like I wish that there was more time because it's exciting for me, and it's exciting for fighters, for us to have those kind of moments and those kind of fights. But it's also exciting for the fans, and that's the kind of fights that I want to have. I mean, I don't necessarily want to have a war every time I go in there. I want to be the one coming out with my hand raised and be the one who's doing all the damage, but I know that fans like to see fights like that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's you guys are prize fighters, but also, the prizes come with exciting fights as well, not just in winning all the time. So yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, I get that dilemma. With that in mind of that decision of how so many people had it your way and the judges didn't, you were not the only one that night that had that fate. Jonathan Martinez on the prelims and obviously Dominic Reyes on the main card. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people felt that they won their respective fights too, and even if they didn't believe they won, there was some scorecards that were unfathomable. Really, is there any silver lining in that, or does that make it any better, any worse that you weren't the only one?
I mean, because it happened quite frequently, I mean, it does, it shows that there was like really a lot of biasness, that night at the fights. And I think it happened mostly with people that were fighting out of Houston, right? The
Yeah.
it was really just more favorable to those who were fighting from Houston, and it just seemed like it wasn't a coincidence. So yeah, I guess it's better that it happened to more than one of us. It happened. I hate to say that. I mean, I hate that it
Yeah.
happened. Period. I don't want that to happen to anybody. I think anybody that deserves that fought their heart all out, and I mean they deserve to get that win, especially if it looks like they definitely won. And I mean the judges. I just feel like they weren't really paying attention, or they just really didn't know how to judge, or they were just being biased because it was like as soon as they said that they were fighting out of Houston, Texas. It was like, okay, they already knew that the person if it was going the distance, the person from Houston was going to win, no matter what. It just seemed that way to me. I could be very, very wrong, but that's just kind of like the way it seemed.
Oh no, the fans were definitely they were very loud. I mean the Derek Lewis fight, anything that Lewis threw, they were going insane. I mean I know Derek Lewis is a fan favorite in his own right, but being in his
Yeah.
hometown, it was a whole other thing. Even here at home, I could barely hear anything. So I
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I definitely get what you're saying, and I get what you're saying too about it's unfortunate all the way around that anybody got a bad decision, but I guess there is that thing, right? Is like, well, you weren't just the unlucky one. Everyone got it right except you, type thing.
Right. I
Yeah,
mean, at
yeah.
least it makes me feel like I'm not crazy. It's like,
Oh, of
okay,
course.
I'm not crazy. I'm not just, I'm not feeling down about my performance, and I'm not sitting here. I mean, I am. There are things that I did wrong in the fight, and there's things that I could have done and I could have capitalized on. And I wish that I had of. But, hindsight's 2020. You're always going to feel that way no matter what. But at the same time, I still feel proud of my performance, and I'm happy about the fight. I feel like her and I went out there. We went out there and put on a stellar performance. And I just didn't get my hand raised, but I'm not moping around. I am upset, but I'm not like depressed about it.
That's great. That's a good outlook. I do wonder if do you think that anything with the judges may have also had to do that your mouthpiece fell out a few times. It slipped out. I could tell that it wasn't a thing of either you doing it on purpose or her hitting you, slapping it out of your mouth. But was there an issue with your mouthpiece, and do you think that they may have had an impact of at least on one of the rounds that it made it look like she punched the mouthpiece out of your face or something.
I guess, and she did. I mean, because the thing is, I've had that mouthpiece for a couple of years now, and it's been with me in every fight that I've had before this one. And well, not every, but I mean, for the past 2 years, it's been the one that I've been using. It's not fitting as snug anymore, and it's also really big in my mouth. Like you could, if you were just look, you could see it like just sticks out. So I talked to my mouth guy sponsor. Actually, he reached out to me immediately and was like, "Hey, we got to get you another one because that's not." He's like, that one's old. He's like, you need a new one. And I was like, could we also make it a little thinner because it just sticks out so much? Because I was watching some of the moments, and it was like she hit me with a straight shot. I keep my chin tucked. But my mouth guard is like, she just hit me and it just grazed it and scraped it on out of there. Like it just like pulled it out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was actually worried in the first couple of moments after it happened because it looked like you had like a ball by your ear. I almost thought like, does she have like a broken jaw or something? Because I could have been delusional, but it seems from certain angles, it looked like you were chewing like on a golf ball or something in the back of your mouth. Okay, so that explains it. Yeah, I figured that there may have been an issue there.
Yeah, it was just big and bulky, and then it was easy. She was hitting it out, but it was like it wasn't fitting as tight as it had been. When I was in my first couple of fights, I use it all the time. It's the one I train with, so it's just kind of like worn itself out.
Okay.
And I just needed a new one. But you know what? It's a good thing. That one was better than the alternative because what happened when I got there, I had packed the wrong bag. I was in my hotel room. I was packing my bags, and I was like, okay, this one has my mouthpiece in it, so this is the bag I'm going to stick everything in. And we all get the same UFC bag, so all the bags look the same. So I ended up getting to the venue, and luckily, my boyfriend messaged me and was like, hey, do you have your mouthpiece? Because, there's a mouthpiece here in this bag. And I looked in my bag at the venue, and I was like, crap, I grabbed the wrong bag. So I had to get them to go back to get me the mouthpiece. But what we were doing at the venue was they had a boil and bite. So they were like, just in case I don't get back, we got this boil and bite for you. And I'm like, okay. So we did the boil and bite in case. And that thing was even worse. There was no way I was keeping that in there.
Oh, yeah, who knows how that would have turned out. They probably would have been deducted a point and then forget about that decision for sure,
Oh, yeah, because I would have just, like, if I opened my mouth, it was just going to fall out. So that would have been the worst. That would have been even worse. But I'm getting a new mouthpiece. I'm getting it fixed. I'm getting that taken care of.
Yeah, that's definitely good. I want to switch it over to, same card. The co-main event of that fight was Valentina Shevchenko and Caitlin Chookagian. Did you happen to see the fight?
Yeah, I did actually.
Needless to say, obviously Shevchenko looked very impressive. Got a finish of Chookagian. What did you think? Did you think Chookagian had the right game plan? I mean, obviously she didn't come out with her hand raised, but did you understand what she was going for, or do you think just Valentina's that good, and no matter what she did, that was not going to work out for her?
Well, I think that Caitlin had a good game plan. It's just that everything that she was throwing, wasn't landing, and that's not her fault. It's just that Valentina is so good at reading people, and her distance is so good, and her movement so well. She's just so evasive, and she knows how to get out of the way and come right back and counter. And it's just going to be really hard to beat Valentina, for myself, for anybody, because she is literally just on a different level, and I'm not too proud to admit that, but Valentina's she's just going to be hard to beat right now. And it's not that Caitlin didn't have the right game plan. I think that Caitlin, was doing everything that she could, other than shooting for takedowns and trying to get to a dominant position. I thought it was going to go 5 rounds is what I was thinking, because I felt like that was the type of fight that Valentina's, she's just improving with every fight, I mean, she's finishing fights a lot quicker. Her fights aren't going the distance anymore. She knows that she's just better than everybody.
Yeah, it's a confidence thing. And I like that you said that even you're not proud to admit that that she's on a different level, because it seems like that competitive side comes out when does that happen when you watch her fight? Like, I want to beat her. Like, I want to be at that level. I know I can
Of
beat her type thing.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, and I watch her and I'm like, man, I know these are some things that I need to work on, but even still, she's gonna be a force to beat. She's gonna be so her timing, the way that she sees things in the fight. It's like she doesn't even need corner. She's just everything she can do on her own. She reads everything. She's always a step ahead.
Yeah, she reads and feels everything. Yeah, you definitely get that seeing her. So I figured you were able to watch the fight because your fight was maybe 4 or 5 fights before hers. Did you feel at all snubbed, or do you care at all about your placement on the card? Because not to talk bad about anyone on the main card, but there was many people, myself included, that thought your fight with Lauren Murphy should have been on the main card, especially if it would have been under Shevchenko, given
Mm-hmm.
that all of you are in the same division. It just kind of makes sense. Does that at all bother you? Do you care whether you're the first fight, the last fight, or the middle fight?
It doesn't bother me, and in fact, I was actually happy to be on that undercard before the main because it was on ESPN. It was free. My family that couldn't come see the fights, they didn't have to buy pay-per-view. They just got to watch it for free on ESPN. And I think a lot more people tune in, to the free side. A lot of people don't want to pay $69 for the pay-per-view. So I mean, I'm happy, I guess, for where my placement was at. I think more people got to see my fight because of it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I've heard fighters say that. It's just on events like this where the champion of the division is on there. It
Yeah.
always just seems a little confusing to me of why they wouldn't have the contenders right alongside it.
I mean, I would have loved to have been, further up on the card. I think that it would have felt great. But I'm not really upset. I don't think that my placement was terrible. It was pretty early. But I guess, that's how it goes. When you lose a
Yeah.
fight, I guess. I don't know.
Well, there's people that lose fights and still end up in the main card. There's
True.
really no telling. Sometimes it just seems so random,
True.
but
Well, hopefully that my fight was exciting enough, because the way that they do it, they judge it based on like how many people tune in to watch you fight. So I feel like a lot of people probably tuned in, but it's all based on that. So if I'm not getting enough of the television views, then I'm not gonna get on the main card. But if I am, then I will be, and the more views that I get for people tuning in to watch me fight, that'll get me up there.
yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I wanted to ask something about your background to kind of move away from Saturday night. Your martial arts background, you're very versatile, you're very well rounded, and I know striker gets put on you a lot. That everyone looks at you as this great striker, which you are. But
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some of your accomplishments in jiu-jitsu. You are very high level, and obviously you're in the UFC. You're on the biggest platform of mixed martial arts. Did you get into martial arts in a more traditional sense, or did you get into it because of MMA? Did you start training in MMA right away?
I got into it because of MMA, but I started boxing first.
Yeah, because I've
Yeah,
seen that you're a national Golden Gloves champ, right?
I am. Yes.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of the boxing, a lot of the Golden Glove circuits. Tried to get in as much experience of that as I could. But MMA was initially the reason that I got involved. But I honestly, like, I had always wanted to learn how to box or kickbox. I always wanted to do something physical like that. But MMA, I was really excited about because I wanted to get in there and do everything. I didn't want to just be one dimensional.
Did you go that route because it was just easier to get into boxing and kickboxing, or you just wanted to prep yourself before you made the big jump?
Prep myself, really, because when I first started out, my coach was like, we don't want to just throw you in there, so we're gonna like ease you in. We're gonna get you good at something. And so we started with boxing, and then I did have my first MMA fight in 2011. At the end of 2011, I lost that by decision, but then I started having more boxing and kickboxing matches, more kickboxing and Muay Thai after that, because I wanted to work on my kicks, and I wanted to be a good kickboxer. I wanted to be good at Muay Thai. So I wanted to learn how to like mix it all in, because I outboxed a girl in an MMA fight, but I was getting kicked the shit out of, like she was outworking me with her Muay Thai. And so I really was like, I want to get better at my kicks and stuff. So I started focusing more on Muay Thai and kickboxing and trying to get better at that, and then I really started focusing on jiu-jitsu, which was like my least favorite. But I really started working on that and going to like the circuits like Naga and Fight to Win and doing all of those and trying to better myself, and just become more well-rounded.
Yeah,
So,
that was why I initially took a lot of I put a lot of attention on you when I think I saw you when you made your Invicta debut, and I
mm-hmm.
saw that you were a stellar striker, and I seen a fight of maybe two fights of yours, and you're doing very well. And I think it was when you lost to Modafferi. I think
Mm-hmm.
after that fight, I saw you going into all kinds of jiu-jitsu tournaments and getting in the gi and all this stuff, and it looked like you really kicked it up a notch after that. What was that the turning point, or was it you just took it a little bit more seriously after that with the jiu-jitsu, or was it something else before that?
I was already doing a lot of that before then. I just really started to focus on it a lot more, um, because I knew that it was a weakness of mine, and I wanted to strengthen those weaknesses that way that I could perform better. And the because I knew that the more I fought for Invicta and the higher I climbed, in the rankings and with my record, the higher the caliber fighters were going to be, higher caliber fighters, I was going to be facing. So, I needed to be prepared, especially, knowing that the UFC was opening up a 125 division eventually, and I wanted to be ready.
Speaking of Invicta, just to bring it back around about the whole judging thing, they're having a show next month. The Phoenix Rising tournament, their third one is coming up next month, and they're gonna start doing open scoring for that fight. I guess that's on behalf of the Kansas Commission.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that one? Do you think that that's a step forward, or is it still too early to call? I mean, they've done it in kickboxing before. They do it a lot, like in Glory and in a few commissions, but I don't think I've seen it in MMA as of yet, especially not in America.
I think it's pretty cool, the fighters are going to be able to know if they're down around, if they're up around. Maybe it'll help to motivate the fighters between the rounds, they'll know, if they're down, they're going to like bring it the next couple of rounds, It might be good. I don't see how it could hurt the sport in any kind of way, but I guess we'll see.
One argument that I've heard against it is, or just a worry that some people have, is that if a fighter knows that he or she is ahead, they may start coasting because
Yes,
they
I've
don't.
heard that too.
Yeah, which I'm like, okay, that doesn't seem like the biggest deal in the world. And I think if you're on the other side and you're losing and you know that this person's gonna coast, I think you're just gonna go balls
Go for the
out.
kill. Yeah.
I mean that's just me thinking. I'm not a fighter. That's just me thinking out loud. But it seems like that is most likely what would happen.
I think that it's going to be hard for the other fighter to coast because the other fighter is going to, like you said, it's going to go all out and it's going to make the other fighter really work because they know that, like, like if you're down, that other fighter is coming to take it more than likely.
Yeah, because at that point it's a thing of getting a finish, not of trying to win a decision. Because especially if you're down 2 rounds, it may not happen for you anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I think it could help the sport. I think it really could.
Yeah, in that case, and it actually may make it more exciting if that's what people are going to choose to do.
I really think it could have helped me in my fight. Shit. Had I known, I've been like, oh my God, I'm going out there. I'm getting this finish one way or another. You know what I mean? It's not that I was even taking my foot off the gas pedal because I wasn't. But I mean, it probably would have helped or lit a fire under my ass in some kind of way because I honestly, I thought I was winning, But I mean,
Yeah.
shit. I think that would have helped a lot.
Yeah, you definitely were winning in my book, and there's a lot of fighters who are winning, and sometimes they don't even know. Sometimes they don't even know if they're winning. So
Yeah.
that would definitely help because there's a lot of chaos in there when you're swinging.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're good friends with Aspen Ladd. I seen her cage side for your fight. Um, I know she trains out here in Cali. Last I heard, up in Northern Cali. Do you come here often? Do you come to California often, or does she go out there, or is it like a two-way thing?
I normally come out there. She has like 5 dogs or so, and she's always hiking. She's always taking care of them. So she's always got a lot that she's doing. So I'll go out there and I'll train and I'll get some work in. Out in I'll stay in El Dorado Hills, and that's where their gym's at. It actually is in El Dorado Hills, and then she lives like an hour up in the mountains.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, she's very young. She's only been fighting a few years. Did you know her before she made her professional debut, or you
I
got
did
to?
actually.
Oh,
She's
you did.
been fighting almost 10 years like me. I mean, she started when she was like 14 or 15, I think. I think she was 14. So I mean, she's what, 24 now. So that's like 10 years. Her and I've been, because I remember her coming up in the rankings in the amateurs, like with me. Actually, when she was a 125er, I thought that her and I were going to cross paths. I felt like we were definitely going to end up fighting. And I think that's how they felt too, because we were keeping an eye on each other because she was doing good, I was doing good. We thought we were definitely going to end up fighting each other. But then after she fought Amanda Bobby Cooper for Invicta, she had a very tough weight cut getting to 125. And that was the last time she said she was going to cut down to 125. So she went up to 35.
If she stayed at 125, I definitely could have seen you two fighting because, yeah, you guys are both exciting. You guys are in a similar trajectory, so I could definitely see that fight
Mm-hmm.
happening. I could see a lot of people wanting that fight. Just one last thing, non-fight related. I just figured I'd bring it up. I'm in LA. Both Rena and I are from Cali, but I'm in LA. So I'm a bit of a film buff, and the Oscars happened this weekend. I don't know whether you saw it or not. Doesn't really matter, but I just came to my mind of what films you usually go to. Either what are some of your favorite films, or what's something that, like, if you're on Netflix, a genre that you may go to.
Man, lately I've just been mixing it up. I've been watching quite a few different things, but I really like fantasy type stuff for some reason. I watched the first season of The Witcher. I like that kind of stuff. Game
Hmm.
of Thrones type shows. I like scary movies. I like suspense. I was watching You. I thought You was pretty cool. I like it. It's like a love-hate type thing because, I don't really like the bad guy and all, but at the same time, it's so intriguing. I like comedy, romantic comedies too. Yeah, so I mean, like it's like a variety of things that it just depends. I mean, right now I'm just like watching everything. But yeah, I like more fantasy type stuff normally.
I'm a little surprised by that. I mean, a lot of people watch Game of Thrones, so I'm not really surprised by that. But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I just never took you as one that you'd be into, like, dragons and magic and that type of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love dragons and stuff. I've always liked that type of stuff. Just growing up as a kid, watching mythical like creatures type, like stuff like that.
I've heard some of your walkout tracks too. I know you're kind of like into metal, like hard rock. So I guess now I shouldn't be too surprised, right? Kind of like the Iron Maiden, Megadeth type stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of in the same family in a way.
So I guess so. Yeah, it is. It is. It is kind of in the same family. But I
Yeah.
like a variety of music too. I mean, I like country. I like hip hop. I don't know. I like everything really. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of rap, but I guess it really depends on it. But
Mhm.
for the most part, I like everything. I just have to be feeling it.
Yeah, I'm very similar. I respect that. All right, KGB. So I think that basically does it. I think I've asked everything that was on my mind. Do you want to plug anything? Do you want anything coming up? Anything you want to talk about? Twitter or social media or anything like that?
Well, if y'all want to follow me, I do have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's all under Andrea KGB Lee. Also, my sponsors, would like to give a shout out to Victory Beef, Iowa Bison, Lana's Egg Whites, Trifecta, Thorn, X Endurance, Healing Panda, and I think that's it.
Yeah, take your time. No worries. I mean, I know
I
you want.
feel like there's something else, but yeah. And then of course, my coaches, everybody at Gladiators, Tim, Jim, Christian, Aspen, Tony, everyone who's worked with me and helped me prepare for my fight. Thank you guys, and yeah, y'all give me a follow me on social media.
All right, Andrea. Thank you so much for your time. It was a real pleasure, and I hope you're able to come back sometime soon.
Thank you, Victor. I plan on it.
All right, so that's it, folks. That was the interview. This is a special episode coming out, but we'll still have our weekly show very soon after this. So give us a follow. You know what to do. Thank you, KGB. Thank you, everybody listening. We'll catch you later. Bye.
Thank you, guys.